Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Rebel Stories. Joining us today, we have the multi hyphenated Jasmine Washington. Hello, Jasmine.
Hi, Fidel.
Hello. I'm so excited to talk to you. Always am.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Now, I want you to I was thinking, and given your multiple roles as an artivist, I have a little bit of a lisp. The Status Quo disruptor, curator, and writer. How do these different facets of your identity intersect and inform each other in your overall mission? Tell us a little bit and tell us everything.
Yeah, of course. So I can kind of briefly go over that. So I am an interdisciplinary artist, which basically means that I practice across various mediums, but they all tie in together. So underneath that, I am a photographer, curator, writer, so name it. I really enjoy bringing people together and really helping people see who they are outside of their practice. Like I am the founder and visionary of the first of many series, which is a heart-centered, creative storytelling platform, really built to honor the people behind the practice. Again, a lot of times, artists, makers, creatives are really only seen as our output, is what we do, is what we offer, not the people behind it, and the fact that we're human. So again, really just wanting to honor the people. So the basis and the foundation of my work in many facets is the people.
Hmm. Now, how do you get in contact with those people? Is it through your community? Is it through referrals? Is it through networking?
So many different things. There's so many different ways to do so. I'm very big on connecting with people off of social media. I think we live in such a digital age where people really only like to communicate through DM or through comments, and it's like, yes, we can have that conversation, but if we're in the same city, if we're in the same state, if we're going to similar events, like let's connect and let's meet face to face. And sometimes it's genuine, sometimes it's not. So really finding different ways to kind of connect with those people. Community is definitely a thing, like really building community for myself, but also for others. So there's so many different ways, connecting off of social media, connecting with someone in the grocery store, and simple acknowledgement can go a long way. But there's so many different ways to connect with people.
So, a little sidestep. What has been the strangest place that you've connected with somebody?
Hmm, that is a good question. The strangest place. I would say to me, sometimes it's not even strange, but I guess to other people, like simple interactions in the grocery store, or you compliment someone, or they have on a T-shirt with a nice message on it, and you kind of start conversation from there. You exchange information, and you look up a year, 2 years later, and you're friends. So I would say to me, no interaction is strange, but I guess some people would find talking to random people in the store or walking down the street to be strange, but I can't even think of an answer.
But you admit, one of the things I'll say, probably one of the reasons why there isn't an answer, because you and I both come from a retail background. Retail background, we talk to everybody.
Talk
Who
to everybody.
don't we talk to? I
Talk
remember,
to everybody, and everybody talks to us.
right. I remember going to the grocery store with my children when they were younger and saying, and just meeting people on the line, and they happen to look at your cart, and then they say, oh, what aisle did you get this? And I say, oh, whatever aisle, and then I say, and oh, how do you cook it? And then you go into this whole thing, and and then my kids say to me, I thought you said don't talk to strangers, and I said, and I would say, for you that's what it is, but mommy's job is talking to strangers.
And my family's from the South, so that Southern hospitality, they talk to any and everybody. Living in the South, the front door sometimes is never locked. So just having that trust and discernment. But like you said, working in retail, you talk to everybody.
Yeah, that is the job. One of the things I love about you, because I like the fact that you, like, we knew each other, but we were like hi hello, you know well, hi, hello, friends. And when your position changed, and then I find we got to talk even more, and I got to realize how warm and inviting you are. You were pretty powerful. I remember having to do a presentation, and you took the video, and you're like, you need to share, what you're doing. Even when I thought, it was just a little thing. It wasn't a big thing. It was a big thing to me, but I couldn't let everybody know it was a big thing. But you were in my corner, so I love the fact that you're always in other people's corner to help them grow. And then I come across you saying you're a status quo disruptor, and I love that, simply because there are so many different variations of a rebel, and I do find that being a status quo disruptor is a rebel. So,
Absolutely.
so what is the status quo you're most passionate about disrupting, and what are some of most challenging aspects of that disruption?
So many things, I think. Ooh, I can list so many things. Being a woman, being a queer woman, being a Black woman, and advocating for myself, advocating for others, that's already disruptive of the status quo. We're supposed to be silent and be quiet and stay to ourselves. And then, more gears toward the art world, like, you're supposed to create art in a particular way. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to do that. So disrupting the status quo, just in general, in terms of navigating through life as a person, not even just as a woman, as a Black woman, and so many other things that define me, but just as a person. There's so many stipulations in terms of like capitalism, and so many things of we're not supposed to do this and we're not supposed to do that. So navigating through that and learning to really trust self, to have faith. So many different things, but just navigating through life and living life for me is already disrupting, the status quo.
Hmm. So, who are some of your most favorite, I'd say, modern, and I don't want to say vintage. Vintage is not the correct word. Modern people and people who have ancestors.
Mm.
Who are some of these
come
people that inspire
from
you? Hmm.
I come from family primarily of women. There are more women and girls in the family than there are men, that just handle stuff. Typically, I guess, according to the status quo, according to the norm, the men are supposed to handle stuff. The men are supposed to wear the pants, right? But in my family, a lot of the land that's in the family was passed down to the women. The women were the caretakers of the family, but they also instructed the men on how to run the family. So without the women in my family, would our family be what it is today? So one, I guess, modern person I would refer to outside of all of the other women in my family would be my mom. My mom raised me as a single parent. She was also raised by a single mother. So really just seeing her strength and resiliency and how she did the impossible all these years, like putting me through private school for 10 years and really just navigating again through life as a single Black woman, doing things that people told her she wouldn't be able to do. Like, she's been an entrepreneur for almost 40 years. So really, again, just pushing through that narrative of things that she isn't supposed to do, she isn't supposed to know how to do, and she's supposed to stop and things of that nature. So really just having that upbringing really drilled a lot into me from a young age, and it really is, the reason of why I am the way I am today.
And I knew you were going to say your mom, because you've shared so much about her. I feel like I know her.
She is amazing. I still don't know how she did and continues to do all that she does, but she is definitely at the top of the list, in addition to, like I said, all of the amazing women in my family that have just held stuff down for generations. So kudos to them.
And kudos to those like them who are still doing what they do, which allow us and people like you to be who and what they are.
Correct. Would not be here without the strength and resiliency of my ancestors, even those that I didn't meet. Like, we're still able to do things because of them. So kudos and much blessings to what they did and what they overcame for for people like us to have the opportunities that we have today.
And I think I always think it's very important. If we don't know where we came from, we have no idea where we're going. So we do have to give kudos to everybody who's done the unexpected, even when for them it was something as simple as just moving forward and having no other options. They still did it. They didn't know they were blazing trails, but they did what was in their heart, and they did what they thought was needed.
Yeah.
So, which brings me to your writing. How did you come about that?
Mm. I've always written, like I said, I'm an only child. So I don't have any siblings. I have a lot of cousins, but for 18 years, I was the only grandchild without siblings. So being able to kind of have a place to escape to that I might not have wanted to have those conversations with my mom or with my dad or with aunts and grandmas. And it wasn't that it was anything secretive. It was just I want to have certain conversations, or I want to be able to release things that I might not necessarily be willing to share yet. So really, I would say within the last year, I've gotten back to it, but I think within the last month or so, I've been in a place where I've wanted to share, not out of like vanity or anything, but it's more so a feeling of, okay, you need to share because someone needs to see this. Someone, your writing is going to unlock something in someone else. So kind of feeling like it was a sign and it was tapping me on the shoulder. So I started taking things from my journal and transferring it to Substack. And one day I just shared, and I'm going to post once a month. And once a month turned into 3 times a day, which turns into sometimes once a week. So, once I started that one thing, it kind of unlocked another thing, and it really kind of proved itself to be true that I needed to share. And so many people have been inspired to start writing, or, just to go deeper with self. So my writing blog on Substack is called The Space Between Thoughts, and it's really kind of self-explanatory, kind of the in-between period where you're not performing, you're not doing, you're not outputting, like you really have that time to just rest. And, you have that space in between those thoughts, in between those expectations. Like there's always something there, but we don't always give it attention. So really kind of just digging into that. So I write about so many different things like creativity, art, resiliency, my lineage, so many different things that kind of just come to mind, whether it's a release or something that I needed to share. It kind of just comes to me and I'm like, I have to write it down. And certain things I'm like, no, this needs to go out for someone else to see it. So again, kind of just starting, and it kind of unlocks itself from there.
Well, I think I've told you that already. I'm trying not to be your biggest fan on Substack. I'm really trying not to. Um, but whenever I get the notification that you've written something, I I'm instantly on it because I want to see what you've written. And a lot of what you write is profound. It also is reflective of other people's experiences,
Yeah.
but somehow we know it's your experience, but it feels like it could be mine as well. And I'm sure for other people reading it, it can be that. So the space between thoughts, I will like you to know, is a deep, deep crater
Mm.
that touches. It's like a slow burning fire.
Wow.
But when you read it, you go, huh? Because sometimes I find that I know I can do it. I can read somebody's words and say, "Wouch!" They were able to put what I was thinking, what I was feeling, so eloquently that anybody else can understand it.
Yeah.
And for me, when I read what you write, I keep on saying, "Did she just have this sitting there?" Or did she just wake up this morning and she said, "Let me go ahead and write this," because this feels like you've had like these things just sitting there, and every day you just say, "Oh, this is what I'm going to dazzle them with today."
It's a combination. Sometimes they'll sit there and I'll add to them, or it's something that I didn't necessarily heal from or work through, or something that I'm working through, or a conversation. Like I said, I'm inspired by so many things. Going back to, the conversations in the grocery store or the laundromat or wherever, like that can unlock something for me. And I'm like, oh, that just cleared up space, or they put words to what I was thinking, and it helped me push through that thought. So it's so many different ways of writing, where some things I'm releasing, and then some things are unlocked by other things. But it's so many different formats and ways that I start putting pen to paper, or how would I describe, like, words on a screen, I guess.
Well, good job. I mean, that sounds so simple, but somebody has to read it for them to understand. If they can come up with something better, more power to them. But I think the best thing I can say, good job, because it every word is on that page for a reason.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So, what advice would you give to aspiring artists, status quo disruptors, curators, writers?
Mm. I just spoke about this at my artist talk. Just start the thing. A lot of times we have heard it's easier said than done, but I've learned that it's actually easier done than it is said. A lot of times we'll talk ourselves out of so many things. We'll allow other people to talk ourselves out. Like Nike has one of the best slogans, which is just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start, start scared, start broke, start when it doesn't make sense. A lot of times it's not gonna make sense. Like Beyonce, I always tell people she's still trying to figure out how to make more money even as a billionaire. So no one ever has it figured out. There is no perfect answer. You can't compare your journey to someone else's. You can do 5 people can do the same exact thing, and they'll all have different outcomes. So just start, and once you start, that'll kind of unlock so many other things. And I'm speaking from experience and the experience of others. Like once you start that one thing, it'll unlock so many different things, and you'll begin to attract the things that you've wanted. So just start.
So, like you said, it's like Nike, right?
Just do it.
Just do it. A couple of years ago when I was talking about Rebel with a Cause, that was my first experience actually talking about it, and I got so emotional. And one of my friends looked at me in the audience, and she was mouthing something to me, and I couldn't figure out what she was mouthing to me. And then she told me to look up my phone, and in all caps she had written, just do the damn thing.
Mm.
And so I try every day, I try to just do the damn thing.
Yeah.
And I think inspiration. And when you said do it scared, Lord, do it scared, do it broke. Just do it, even though
Just
you're
do
not
it.
sure. There'll always be naysayers. Always be
Yeah.
naysayers. For one, they're not trying, they're not doing. So if you're doing it and you're doing it scared, somebody's always going to try to keep you down, keep you back. But find your circle, find that niche that holds you together and says, "Come on, you got this."
Mm. No matter, people will always have something to say. There will always be something that comes up. You can do something the exact way that somebody that's actually looking at you says to do something, and it's still going to be something wrong with that. So do it your way. Again, do it scared, do it broke, do it when it doesn't make sense, do it when you don't have the resources. Like that grit alone will bless you in return. So just do it.
So tell us, looking ahead, what's next for you? Are there any upcoming projects, exhibitions, writing pieces that you're particularly excited about? Maybe a book? Did you see how I threw that out there?
That might have been confirmation for me. So I can speak about that on haven't spoken about that publicly, but we can share that. But in terms of what's next, I am pursuing my master's degree this fall, so I am excited for that.
Congratulations!
Thank you. I have like a month and a couple of days left to like chill and rest before I gotta get into it. So I'm trying to like prioritize rest and embrace rest in new ways. But I'm very excited to go back. My director and I are like freaking frack, so I'm very excited to just go deeper within my work and learn from an academic perspective, and have broader access to resources and just community. So, it's access for me, but it's also access for everyone else in my community and network as well. So, really excited about that. Continuing with the first of many series, like I have panels, we have a podcast as well. And then in October, I'll be launching a storytelling circle called Voices from the Margin. So I'm very excited for that as well. And then outside of that, like just living life and like you said, doing the damn thing, like creating and allowing space for things to come to me, but also again just prioritizing rest and getting back to self, but really just having fun and enjoying life. And then I have definitely thought about writing a book, like getting back to writing. I'm like, oh, this is doing something. It's one thing for something to impact you, but to see it impact so many other people in return, like it really warms my heart that one thing that I might have been adamant to do or adamant to start, like it actually has purpose and it actually has meaning beyond, what I could have expected. So I definitely want to write a book within the next 5 years. I've come up with a title. I just haven't officially started writing the book. I'm like, I want to live life a little bit. I want to let some things happen and let some things come into fruition, and it'll write itself at that point. But those are some upcoming things for me.
Well, you know what? When this is all done, we'll be here for it. I know I will be here for it. So just loop me in. Loop me in.
Already looped in.
Perfect. So, Jasmine, the Rebel Stories podcast, we're all about powerful narratives, and you you have a powerful narrative. How do you see your own story and the stories you amplify through your work fitting into the Rebel ethos?
I think, not even think. I know that Rebel with a Cause is such a powerful name, and it was definitely something that I wanted to learn more about, not just what the organization is for, but where the name came from. So I think, getting back to just creating for you first, and, regardless of the naysayers, regardless if things work out. So really just connecting with self, prioritizing self, and creating for you and loving on you first. I think that is more than enough to describe a rebel in itself, but also so many people having a conversation. We live in such a culture that is so big on performing and people pleasing and so many other things that, at one point we all have to learn from, but really just getting back to self and creating for you and doing what makes you happy first. That in itself defines a rebel and defines disrupting the status quo. So I think, again, just creating for you and being you authentically and unapologetically, that is more than enough than so many other things.
And we definitely have room in the world for more than one rebel.
For sure.
So before we close, I'm just gonna ask you, what's one rebel moment in your journey that significantly shaped who you are today? And then just tell our listeners where we can find you on social media.
One rebel moment.
Kind of hard, right? Just one.
Just one.
It might have to be a combination, right?
I know. I'm trying to combine answers now. I guess this would be a combination of many things. Learning to say no, learning when to walk away. For me, I have walked away from like the 9 to 5 culture. So again, disrupting the status quo of what the American dream is and how you're supposed to live life and do so many things, but learning that part of my life no longer served me. It definitely brought me here, and I've learned a lot from it. But learning that it was time to walk away, learning that it was time to fully step into who I am as an artist, but also, because of that, it has unlocked so many doors. I'm going back to grad school, and I've been able to prioritize and connect in so many ways that I wouldn't have without that no. So learning to say no and to walk away.
Well, I will tell you from the day I met you a couple of years ago, and
Still remember what you had on.
wow, and I don't remember, but what I can say, the person you are, I am proud to know you because you've evolved. I think you've grown into who who you are and who you are meant to be. So I'm very
Yeah.
proud to be your friend.
Thank you. Likewise, I'm happy to be connected, but even more so that we stay connected.
That's what we do. So any last word? You have to tell everybody where to find you.
Oh yes. I just wrote down today like how many platforms I have. So my
How many do you
social
have?
media, and I don't know how I run them all. My social media account is the Sourcer. So it's the word Sourcer with an H in it. So SOURCHER on Instagram. I'm also on Threads under that handle. My website is just my full name.com. So jasminewashington.com. Those are pretty much my main platforms that'll lead you to my other platforms. But yeah, Instagram, TikTok, newsletters, Substack, all of that's on there.
Okay. Jasmine, thank you so much for being one of our favorite rebels.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for being the rebel. Thank you for the work that you do and for all of your inspiring and motivating talks that are right on time, even when it's, a lot of times they're unexpected. No, coming from you, they're expected, but sometimes, having those conversations or being in those moments, they're unexpectedly right on time. So thank you.
Always. So everybody, thank you for joining us today. As always, peace, love, and rebel on.